Welcome back. Hi, Player Dart here, and we're playing SpaceChem. You may have noticed, if you've been paying attention, that there is more progress done here than you saw last time, because we were about to start random oxides. I recorded an episode, but for some reason, the video didn't take this time. I've had nothing but audio problems. Now I'm having video problems. But what that means is I was able to go over the audio of what I had done. I can show you now. So the idea behind this first one, random oxides, is alpha is bringing in oxygen atoms, and beta is bringing in a 50-50 mix of zinc and titanium, and we need to be able to output either titanium dioxide or zinc oxide. So obviously that's going to depend on what comes in. I started this and I just woke up from my nap, so I was on the struggle bus, but what I'm doing here is I'm bringing in one of each, because no matter what's coming in here, I want it double bonded to an oxygen. So I just brought in one atom of each, pick up the oxygen from here, put it on a bonder here. Now, originally in the first design, it just carried forward. We'll get to what this loop is in a second. It carried forward, it hits this sensor, and then it decides, do I have a titanium or do I have a zinc? If it's zinc, then fine, we've done the job. We've double bonded it to oxygen. It just needs to deposit it here, and it can flush, and we go back and we try again. Yeah, if it is not zinc, then it comes up here, and it triggers the blue. So then what the blue is going to do is it's going to start up, pull in another oxygen, pick it up, bring it over here. The original red Waldo will deposit the metal double bonded to an oxygen here. The blue Waldo will deposit an oxygen here, bond, and flush titanium dioxide. And then the red Waldo will wait to start the process over again, and the blue will sync. When it's done, it'll come over here, and it'll wait for the next opportunity to make a titanium dioxide, which is pretty close to what I had. I mean, that was my first idea. It worked out pretty well. The issue was I wasn't actually getting this bonding to happen, because by the time I was able to issue the bond command over here to make the initial metal oxide, the Waldo has to travel, which means it's not on the bonder anymore. So the way around that is this little loop. So I've classically been making a grab or a drop say grab or drop. We don't have to. It starts off as a grab drop. And so it will either pick up or put down, depending. So I think that's like that for this particular maneuver. So what I ended up settling on was it comes along here, it has something, it drops right here onto the bonders. It sits there, bond, loop around, pick up again, and move on. And it works out really well. So what I can do is I can show you, grab an oxygen, bring in a titanium. So it's going to do the full thing. It senses titanium, it comes up, drops it there. Oxygen comes along, drops there, bond, and flush. And then do it again. Then titanium again. I think it's the same seed, the same randomization every time. Here comes a zinc. So bond, grab it over, detect zinc, just drop it, and that's it. And so it just works really nicely. And that was pretty much my first draft, other than that little grab drop loop, which actually is pretty useful. So I managed to build that in about 7 minutes. And as you can see, I'm slightly less than the mean number of elapsed cycles. One reactor, of course, because you only get one. But in terms of how many symbols, I was more efficient than average, because I was way behind the mean. Then we go on to No Ordinary Headache. And story and info, and we get more story. I went by Joel's office 3 days later with diagnostic reports loaded onto a tablet for review. Production was triple what it had been on Danoff. We were at record production rates, rivaling even the most prolific sites in the system. I stepped through the door as it glided open, eyes focused on the data and graphs, when I heard a groan. Joel dropped his head against the desk, pulled at his hair, and ground his teeth. I could hear the gristle of the enamel. His jaw creaked. "Joel?" The tablet clattered against the floor. He grunted, lifted his head, opened one eye, and then thrust his head against the metal surface. I strode behind the desk. He cried again, thrashing his head as blood trickled from his hairline. I pulled his arm around my neck and hoisted him up. "We're going to the med bay." As I dragged him into the hall, it was clear that he wasn't listening. So, yeah, there's a problem. Back to this. The goal here is to make nitric oxide, NO. But we're getting a 25-75 split of triple bonded nitrogen molecules and double bonded oxygen molecules. So we got a lot of problems here. So the first thing I did was I worked on this. So what this thing is it's an unbonder. So what it does is it pulls in a molecule, separates it. If it's oxygen, it drops it in omega. One after the other, very efficient. And if it's nitrogen, then it just detours north and deposits it there. Again, they follow each other very closely. It's very efficient. So that was that one. Fine, great, wonderful. Then I put in this thing, the second sensor, with a pipe that led directly there. This thing didn't exist yet. So in here, this thing is just incredibly simple. It's accepting nitrogen from here. It's accepting oxygen from here. There's our grab drop thing because we want multiple bonds. This is the thing to use when you want multiple bonds, because then it pauses for a minute, does bond. It can even do a triple bond. There's room for it before picking it up and carrying it on again. And that's all it does. It's getting a steady stream of nitrogen atoms and oxygen atoms. It doesn't have to wait for anything other than for the next atom to show up. So this was incredibly easy to design. But we started hitting some problems. First, again, I had just woken up from a nap. The first problem was I hooked this thing up to put everything in beta, and I was collecting everything from alpha. That's a very easy fixable problem. But the second problem happens outside the reactors. So if you do hook this pipe up directly, you're getting triple the amount of oxygen than you're getting nitrogen. So what ends up happening is the excess unused oxygen just collects in this pipe. And if this backs up, then what ends up happening is you drop something here and you go to the command to flush and it just stops. And as you saw, there's no waiting. The next one is coming along right behind, and so it collides. So I had a third reactor to play. Clearly this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I started building this thing. So this is what I'm calling a siphon. I haven't saved it yet. I probably should. But it's easy to go back and save. So what it does is it basically is a double loop. So the start is here. It pulls a molecule in, or pulls an atom in, I should say, grabs it from here, and just drops it here to output it to the other reactor and flush. Then it immediately pulls another one in, grab it from here, come around, drop it in omega, and it sends it to the recycler. So it's out of play, it's not clogging anything up, it's just a storage place. I can just forget everything that goes there. Flush omega, come back, do it again. And it's just went around in one big figure eight, again, reusing this grab. And that was fine for a while. But even taking out every other oxygen, is too slow because the whole system backs up. I mean, if you take a look at what I'm doing here, I've added a lot more pipe. There's a lot more pipe here than what it takes to fill all of this up just from here to here. So even pulling out every second one, it's not enough. So I needed to pull out every third one and send it onto the reactor, and the other 2/3 are supposed to go to the recycler. So I brought in the blue Waldo. Originally, I had it syncing so that after it sent something to recycler, it synced and then the blue one came in. But even that was too slow for the 40 molecules this level is asking for. So yeah, I had to build the blue Waldo so that it was even faster. And so now, if I start the thing going, there we go. Now we're starting to get oxygen. So you can see, we'll go slow, waiting for oxygen to arrive. So the first one comes along, red grabs it, send to the recycler. The other one follows close behind. And then when it's ready to come in, it grabs the next one and puts it out to the nitrous oxide building reactor that's in the north there. So now it's just working perfectly. I'll let it run. It takes a while, but that's because you're waiting for all that nitrogen to come through. And here's how it goes. So some crazy people managed to do it in a single reactor. I don't know how they did it. Most people do it in 2. I did it in 3. But while the number of symbols I used was more than average, my amount of time was less than average, and there was a lot of like skew in this thing where a lot of people took more than 7,000. Like there's a spike here and I wish I knew why. So I think it's one of those cases that you have a choice. You can either build it to go really fast, which is what I did, or you can throw a lot of equipment at it to do that, or you can do it more efficiently and do it in like 2 reactors, but then the whole process takes longer. So that is as far as I've gotten. This took me about 25 minutes to build because I was trying to figure out why is this thing colliding all the time and how do I deal with the fact that the pipes back up. But now we have a production thing, no thanks necessary. That explanation is about half my time, so I think we have time for one production thing. So new story, I kept Joel's latest email open for so long it was practically burned into the screen. Good morning, friend. Thanks so much for your kind assistance yesterday. I am feeling wonderful, much improved. Please come by my office when you have a moment. Sincerely yours, Joel. Joel was a tall man with a thick beard. I can imagine him cutting down trees to build his own cabin on the edge of a cliff. I could not imagine him writing cheerful emails to thank his subordinates, let alone with smiley faces. Perhaps the nurse had given him a powerful drug for the migraine. On to the thing. So now, okay, so we have a 2/3, 1/3 source of water and sodium chloride. So the water is our only source of hydrogen. And the sodium chloride is our only source of sodium. And so, oh, we do have a recycler up here. Fabulous. So it looks like we have the same thing. We have a 25%, 75% nitrogen oxygen. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to exit the level. I'm going to go into the previous thing, no ordinary headache. I'm going to grab this thing and I'm going to save it. And that's kind of the reverse of the proportion that it is in air, so fine, that's what that does. So now exit the level, go into no thanks necessary, and in the saved things, anti-air. So that pulls in beta, I think. That feels right. That's going to output nitrogen and oxygen. Cool. Okay, that's a start. So I get 5 reactors here. So now, what we notice about the two things that we're outputting is they're basically the same structure. And so I get to talk a little bit about chemistry again. The way that an acid works is that it has a polar bond to hydrogen that in the presence of water, that bond gets ripped apart by the water. So that hydrogen gets pulled off. So you get a lot of H plus in the water, and you get, in this case, NO3, a nitrate ion left behind. So other things that are positively charged can come in and get attracted to that negative portion of the nitrate. So that could be sodium, and then you have sodium nitrate. And the naming reflects that. If I have something that ends in IC acid, if I take the hydrogen off to make it not an acid anymore, then what forms, I replace the IC acid with ATE. Maybe I gain or I lose a syllable when I do that, but that's basically it. So really what we want to do is we want to build nitrate ions out of that. So let's go back to our bare bones basic sensor reactor, put it there, and see if we can't build something that will put together a nitrate. And you know what? We actually want all 3 oxygens this time, so we're happy to get this. Fine. Okay. So I think I wanted to just pull both things in. Grab a nitrogen here. I mean, it feels like we want to do kind of the same thing here. What we can do is we can start by building the double bond. So we can give it a... Not there, we're not. Hold on. There, because this is the cell where the oxygens are going to come in. We're going to grab drop. We're going to bond, bond. Or do we want this to do this way? Because I noticed that this loop that we're building walks right over where the oxygen's coming in, and I probably want both the red and the blue Waldos to pull in an oxygen atom. So I think this is not quite right for us here. What if we do it over here? We grab drop there. Yeah, we're going to have to sort of move over here and move into this column because it has to grab from here. That's where the nitrogen's coming in. I mean, it doesn't have to. We could redo the whole thing, but I'm not going to. I want these things to be, like, compatible with each other. So it's going to drop here. Let's say that it cycles off this way. And then it's going to grab and move through. So now how are we going to get the other oxygen on there? Because they both have to be bonded to the nitrogen, but now the next one only needs to be single bonded. Yeah, I'm having to think about this. How am I going to arrange everything? Because not only do I want the red to pull in another oxygen, I also kind of want to reuse those bonders to do the next thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip this and come back. Yeah. So, I have other fish to fry. Can I plus it there? Yes, I can. Okay. So, here's what I notice about this thing. This is going to bring in water and sodium chloride. I want the thing that's in this cell, right? So, tell you what. Grab something from alpha, grab that there, unbond it. So now this will be separated. Grab this, and basically we want to discard whatever's here, whether there's a hydrogen attached or not. Because the chlorine we don't want, this hydroxide we don't want. So we want unbonder here. Sink. And I kind of don't care what it is. I don't care which one it is, because one of these is going to output to the recycler and one of them is going to output to the next thing. So in the blue, sink, grab, and let's... I don't need that. Let's drop it here. Flush, sigh, and come back. And then this, we want it to drop and flush in standard position so we know where it is and go back around. So exit the reactor. This goes into the recycler. Right? Right. Okay. So then this, I may need to redo this because I may have just screwed myself, but oh well. Don't do that. Yeah. There we go. Okay. That hopefully will give us room. So now this is going to be our nitrate builder. This it's going to come in here. And sodium is going to go there. Oops. And nitric acid is going to go there. I just need it to output that there. So this, we want to be nitrate ion in some configuration. I don't know. What do you mean unknown? That's nitrate. That is totally nitrate. What is your problem? That is what you are. You are nitrate ion. Okay. So I kind of can't continue with this until I know what this looks like. So I've done about all that I can do. So I need to figure this out now, because I don't want the blue to have to come through twice and do all that work. So tell you what, let's redo this so that it is looping around this way. Yeah, that's not going to work. That's why I'm doing it that way, is that I can't... I suppose I could rotate it. I need to know what this thing is going to do. Let me play it. Pause. Why are you stuck? You are stuck because I did not give you enough space. Okay. So, stop. Okay. Let's start again. Okay. That's probably a design flaw that if I guess get all of the oxygen, it's going to break, but incoming nitrogen. Here we go. Nitrogen. Drop, bond, bond. Grab it, start pulling it away. So that's the orientation that it's in. Okay, we're gonna adjust this slightly. Stop. I've got an idea. So it's nitrogen, oxygen. Grab that from here, rotate it that way. Okay, this feels like it can work, I think. Oh, except it's, okay. Drop it there. So this is going to be properly a drop. This is going to be a grab. This is going to be a drop. Let's make sure that this is doing what I think it's doing, because this is breaking my head. Okay, so here's what I'm going to have it do. I'm going to have it pull in another oxygen at this point. I don't need the sensor. I'm going to have it pull in another oxygen at that point, bond it. Whoops, bond it. And then sync. Then I'm going to have this start moving. I'm going to have it grab this and drop it here. When the sync happens. Let's see what that looks like. Because this is a really complex thing and I just cannot hold it in my head. So now I want to make sure it's doing what I think. So it's making an N double bond O, pull in an oxygen, bond it, this pulls it across. And then play, it drops there. I want it to go back for an oxygen here, bond it to this thing and flush it. So I want it to head back this way. Tell you what, put this over here, send it upwards, and then flush this. Does this do what I think it should do? So that thing, double bond, bring it up, set it up for the next one, bring in another one, bond it. Pull this over, pull it into position, bring in another oxygen. Grab it, deposit it there, bond it, flush it. Cool. I've made nitrate. So now, what I want is let's say the blue Waldo. Oh, stop. I want the blue Waldo here to pull this, come up here, and just very simply bond that there. Since this is late in the process, I want both of these to come in before this syncs, before these sync. So it's pulled a beta, it's pulled an alpha. Both of them are now clear to go. Oh. Grab it. Hold it. Grab from here. So actually, hold on. Back this up slightly. Sync. They're both present. They're both ready to go. Grab from here. Drop here. Bond these two together. And then just go back to start and wait. And because I'm nervous about this, I'm going to put a sync there so that, no, the whole thing has to complete before you try pulling something else in. So this is ready to go. Both of these happen. This is ready to go. Grab this. Yeah, sync. Grab this, come across. If the thing that is here is sodium, turn south. Drop it there. Flush Omega. And head back to the start. If not, then it's a hydrogen. It's where it ought to be. Just flush this. Oh, whoops. Drop it. And head back to start. Is that complete? I think that might be complete, other than the possibility that something jams. Because this is the first time I've done something this complicated. So there's a hydrogen waiting here. That's now backed up. We're waiting for this incredibly slow thing. Okay, so this might be a design flaw. This thing could collide. If this seizes up... Okay, here comes a thing. Ooh, bad. Yeah, this thing backed up. So I may need to build some sinks into this. Because this was the problem with the other time I used this as well, is that it collided here because pipes filled up. Because making nitrate just takes freaking forever because it's complicated. Let's see if that helps anything. Oh look, it's oxygen. Let's fast forward this a bit. It produces a nitrogen. Oxygen, nothing is wrong. Okay, so that looked like it did what it needed to do. Now this is screwed. What happened here? Okay. 8. So something happened in this reactor. What went wrong here? Okay, working. Flush. Oop! Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, but why is this thing heading off to do it again? This is what happened. It's about to do this. So something about the syncing of this is wrong. Okay. Does this not have 2 sinks on it? It doesn't. Do your thing. Okay, that should be fine. We're still waiting for a nitrate to get to this reactor over here. It's about to come in. Now we get to see if it does the thing. Bond. This was an acid. Drop. Good. The next one will be a sodium nitrate. Because we've got the same problem. We've got too much oxygen again. So maybe I really do need that 5th reactor to siphon off some of the oxygen. Or I just need to give it an unblockable pipe. I mean, in the early going, it's going to be slow getting rid of that first nitrate, but it's going to be backed up forever after that. And I'm kind of relying on the law of averages that I'm never going to get such a surplus of nitrogen that this thing is going to get stuck trying to get rid of a nitrogen atom when it runs out of oxygen. But this looks like it's going to go. Reaction error, what happened? Here again. Oh, did it occur? Did the thing I just said happen? That's not a problem. We'll just do the same thing up here. I mean, I don't have a lot of room to do that. Well, nope. Wrong. Bad. but it's not that I have zero room. I can do this. I mean, this is such a kludge. But it's never going to unbalance that far. Oh, yes, it is. My goodness. How do I deal with this problem? Okay. I mean, should I double down on the kludgy factor? I mean, I feel like it's the only option I have available to me at this point, which ain't great. I'm a bad programmer, but that's what we're going to do. So this, I'm going to move down a little bit. This can now go into high. This can now be fed into there. That is so terrible. But those pipes are never going to fill. I feel awful. Okay. So for speed, I'm basically in the middle. I managed to save a reactor, which most of people did. And I actually did it fairly efficiently in terms of how many symbols? Slightly more than average. Or slightly less than average. Continue. And so that finishes this. We now have a defense thing coming up where, no, we really do need to be properly efficient. And then a challenge. So that's perfect for another episode. So thank you for watching all the way to the end of this video. Again, I apologize for screwing up and not knowing how my equipment works 6 months into this. I'm still on my probation period. I appreciate all of you. Leave me a comment to let me know what you think of what I'm doing. Yell at me for being such a horrible cheating bastard in the last challenge that I just did. Click the like and subscribe buttons. It does help me get seen by other people, and that helps my channel grow. And if you like me, you'll help me. We will cycle through the rest of the games. I may have my eye on a demo coming up, something very Professor Layton-y, which is something that I've not gotten to play before. So I'm interested in seeing how I do with it. And we will see you very soon. Have a good day. I appreciate you all, and goodbye.